My auntie moved in with us after my mom died a few years ago. I was around 15 years old by then. My mom was healthy, like there was nothing wrong with her. She just went to bed one day and she never woke up again. My auntie, who is my mother's little sister, moved in a few weeks after her death. She came with her 2 kids, and the main purpose of her coming over was to take care of me and my little brother. She was like a second mother to us. After my mother was buried, she moved into the boys' quarters with her kids. She was single and she was helping my dad take care of us. A few months after this, I caught her kissing my dad in our living room. I was so shocked and I felt so betrayed. My mom had not even been dead for more than a year. I was so angry with both of them, and I asked my auntie to go back to her house. I was almost 16 years old and I was old enough to take care of myself and my little brother. She told me the landlord had rented out her place after she moved out, so it would take some time for her to find a new place. She also apologized to me and told me what had happened between her and my dad was a mistake and that it will never happen again. But a couple of months down the line, she moved into my dad's room and they started dating officially. It was as if my dad was a different person. He changed all of a sudden out of nowhere. He stopped caring for my brother and I, and my auntie also started showing her true colors. She started maltreating us. She took my room and gave it to her daughter and asked me to move into my brother's room with him. I called my grandmother, which is my father's mother, to tell her about this new development. She called my dad to tell him what he's doing is wrong, but nothing she said worked. They got married a year after this, and at this point, my relationship with my dad was very bad. I stopped talking to him and I didn't even attend their wedding. After their marriage, the maltreatments got worse. It got so bad to the extent that I moved to my grandmother's place with my brother. We just left the house for her and her kids to take over. After we moved out, my relationship with my dad got worse. He stopped calling us to even check up on us, and I hated him so much for the way he treated us. It was as if the love he had for us just vanished all of a sudden one day. I am 25 years old now, and my relationship with my dad is non-existent. We just don't talk. A few months ago, he fell seriously ill, and my grandmother told my brother and I he wanted to talk to us. That was the first time I saw him in years. He broke into tears when he saw us and told us to forgive him. My auntie was in the room with her face frowned. I started crying too because my dad had grown so lean. This was not the man I remembered. Despite the way he treated us, he used to be my best friend and the best dad ever. We forgave him and we actually ended up staying with him for a couple of days more before we left. My auntie and her kids had taken over the house and they were treating us as if we were outsiders. My dad died a few days after we left, and in a way, I regret hating him so much all these years. After he was buried, we went to the office of the registrar for his will reading, and my dad left everything to my brother and I, like every single thing he owned. He just left a sum of money for my auntie and her kids. I will never forget the look on my auntie's face when she realized we were getting everything. I just gave her 1 week for her and her kids to leave our house. She begged me to let them stay in the house for a few months till they found a new place. But I was like, hell no, I want her and her kids out of my house fast. I will never forget the way that woman treated my brother and I after my mother died. My grandmother even suspects she was the one who killed my mother and did dark magic on my father to love him. This woman cried and went down on her knees begging me to let them stay. But my mind was made up. I wanted to move back into the house with my brother as soon as possible, and there was no way I could stay with that woman in the same house. They finally moved out of the house last week, and I'm even thinking of calling someone to come and pray over the house before we officially move in, because of some of the things I experienced after I moved out of that house. I even believe it was because of my grandmother's prayers over our lives that we are still alive till this day.